Hello, well today I thought I'd show you how the audio system works in the new Peugeot 308. So the main point of the system is you've got 7 different screens. You've got one we can access for air conditioning systems, another one for working on parameters of the car, the audio system, whether it be radio, Bluetooth or CD player. Here we've got navigation system. Over here, settings for the system. Here we'd have Peugeot Connect applications if we have the USB dongle connected to have access to internet. And here we have the telephone system. Okay, if I come back to the air conditioning screen, what we'll find on all of the screens is there's a main screen and then a secondary screen. So here we're on the main screen. If we want to go into more detailed parameters, we access the secondary screen with this button here. For example, for the air conditioning, we can now choose whether we prefer the ventilation to be working softly, normal or quite quickly. And we can also use the mono button, which is the button that means both driver and passenger temperatures will be the same and move together, following whatever the driver puts into his side. Once we've been on the secondary page, we can click the same button and we'll go back to the main page. So we see the same is true if, for example, I take the audio system. Well, okay, so here we've got a radio station showing. If I go onto the secondary screen, we've got some more detailed access of things for the media, or we can come back to the media page. Likewise, I'll do it more quickly, the navigation, secondary page, more information for that page, and then come back. Okay, if I now give you a tour of some of the other points that we should need to know, we can look at the air conditioning system. And some people may say, well, sometimes once we're on this page we need to change to another screen to change a radio station, for example. But what we should see here is that basically all the areas that are in a grey box are tactile. So up here we've got shortcuts to the radio system. Here we can change our radio station and it goes straight back to the air conditioning page where we were. Or we can change the source if we wanted to, radio AM, and it's done, and then we come back to the air conditioning system. Likewise, if we were in, say, the radio page or the media page, and I say, oh, I want to change the temperature of the air conditioning, we don't have to go to the air conditioning. As we can see in this top bar, there's a shortcut, so if I press it, it'll come up with the possibility to change the temperature. So you can change the temperature. As we saw earlier on, I activated mono, so both move together following the driver's temperature command. And then once that's gone, it'll go away and I come back to the radio page. We can see it's taken that air conditioning modification into account. If we go to the aircon page, we can see it's taken the temperature of 22 degrees. If we now look perhaps in a little more detail at each page, and then we'll be finished. Well, we've got the air conditioning, so we've seen here the buttons to say whether we want it going towards the windscreen, onto the face, or down to the feet. We can change the temperature, we can control the fan manually. If we activate auto, it'll automatically control fan and temperature settings, and aircon to turn the aircon system, aircon compressor on or off. On the secondary page, as I already showed you, soft, normal, fast, or mono. Of course, if mono is activated, like I said, but if now the passenger presses his button, it'll deactivate mono and create the individual management of each side of the car of the temperatures. If I look at mono now, I can see it's being turned off. I can always reactivate it, and when I come back, both temperatures will have realigned on the temperatures of the driver. If we look at the car parameters, well, we've got the computer trip system, so instantaneous fuel consumption, the amount of time we've spent with stop and start system activated, and then the different trips, which we can reset with the button. Here we've got the button we need to use if we want to turn off the parking radars. If they're beeping in a situation where we don't want them on, we can turn them off here. And this is the system is in French, but here this is the button that allows us to reset the tire deflation or tire puncture warning system. So if I've, for example, changed my wheels or changed my tires and they've all changed pressures, once I've done that, I'll press this button to reset the system. It'll remeasure what the pressures are, and that'll give it its point of departure to tell us when we're driving later on, if it notices that one of the wheels has been losing pressure. On the secondary page, we then get access to some important vehicle parameters. So vehicle parameters. Here, this is a menu that quite a lot of people have a difficulty to find. We've got different parameters depending on your vehicle configuration, of course. If we can't read the full text, we can press this little button and it'll allow us to read the full text. And come back. If we want to know a bit more about what that function is, we can press this little magnifying glass and it'll tell us what it is. And then we can tick to activate it or deactivate it. The ones we got here are automatic wiping when I put the car into reverse, automatic rear wiper. We've got follow me home headlights when I leave the car in the evening. Do I want the follow me home to stay on? Here we've got the welcome light, so when I unlock the car from a distance, do I want the headlights to come on to welcome me? The ambient lighting inside the car, do I want the lighting in the footwells and elsewhere, if I have that option? Oh, it's closed because I didn't change anything, so we can go back to it. And here, an important parameter, this one is, excuse me, is do we want, when I unlock the car, whether it be from the boot or whether I unlock it from the remote control, do I want it to only unlock my door or all the doors? So for example, I have a hands-free key system. So when this is activated, if I open the boot, only the boot opens, but the car stays locked. If I were to tick that box, sorry, that was if it was ticked. If I then untick this box, then what will happen is when I unlock the boot, all the doors open. So the whole car is opened up. And if I could scroll down a bit more, what else have I got? I've got the boot unlocking system. And more detail in there. If I want to just look at certain ones, here all of them are shown in the list, but if I unclick vehicle access and driving aids, I'll only have the ones linked to lighting or only the ones linked to driving aids and so on. Here is also the button where I can program the speeds that I want to have access to from my programmable cruise control. I can program them for either the speed limiter or the cruise control. These speeds that I put in here, when I'm then using the cruise control, if I press while I'm in cruise mode, if I then press this upper button, mem, it'll pull up on the screen those speeds that I just programmed, and I can just click here and it'll automatically take that as the cruise control value. Can be a useful shortcut. What else have we got then? If we go in the radio or media system, we'd have access to the settings. We've got access to any sorry, I'm in AM, so we better come back and I'll switch to, with my source here, switch it to FM. Then now I can go back. I'll have, there we go, a list of all the radio stations we've got here. I can also put them into the memory. Here is also where, if I want, I can program a frequency to specifically choose the radio station that I want, and it'll go there. I've got management of photos, audio system settings, and settings for the rest of the media system, whether it be traffic announcements, radio system, or other media like turning on the aux system if I want to have an aux connection for my music with a cable. If I had a phone connected on Bluetooth, then from the media page, once the phone is already connected, if I want to play streaming radio from my phone or music from my phone, I can choose my source. It's not connected at the moment, but if it were, I could then press Bluetooth, it'll come up, and then it'll play the music that's coming from my telephone. In the settings, we can have access to the audio system again. We've got the button to turn off the screen if we want. For example, when we're driving at night time and we'd like to have the screen off, when we touch it, it'll come back on. We can change the colors that we want, the theme of the whole system. We also find our interactive help. If we go onto the secondary screen, we've got all the other settings, systems, time, language, the screen settings. A tip here is I have turned off animations. The animations is the should we say melting between the smooth transition between screens. I find it slows down the movement from one screen to another, so I actually turned it off, and I feel it makes the system much quicker to respond when I switch between screens. A calculator if we need one, and also a calendar. Well, if we had access to internet, we could have some applications, okay, and we could use that. And then finally, the telephone system. Well, we need to have a phone connected, so we could do that through the Bluetooth connection. We go into the secondary page, Bluetooth connections. We can search for a phone. Once we've found it, choose it and connect it, putting in a code in both the phone and the system. It'll connect, and then my phone will be connected for either using the telephone system, or when I go into the media, playing music through the Bluetooth. We'd also have any options we want for the telephone system. Okay, I hope that's been useful for you. Remember that the main point here is that we've always got a main screen and then a secondary screen with access to more detail, and that depending what screen we're on, we've got different shortcuts on the top here to, for example, change the temperature, or for example, change the radio system or the source of our music. Hope it's useful. Take care. Bye.